I don't know what it is, but every time I get a new car, I really want to find the factory brochure for it. So I went on the hunt for a Crown one, and believe it or not, I found one on Yahoo Japan, and I won it for $3. $3, and it just arrived. So we're gonna open this together and see how it looks. That is a lot thicker than I thought. I thought it was only a couple of pages. This is like a full-on book. Oh, there's my interior. Trim levels, color options. Something in Japanese. Hang on, is that prices? JZS171. I don't know what any of this means. 1JZ. Oh, look at the trinkets. Purifier. I don't know what that is. VIX system. No idea. Car phone. Oh my god. If I can find the car phone, I swear to god I'm getting it. Baby seat, first aid kit, booster seat. Very, very cool. I love this stuff so much. This is a really good pickup for $3. Is that even the dealer? Oh, I gotta find out what dealer that is. One sec. Shizuoka Toyota. Damn, I imagine it was my dealer, which is Chiba Toyota. That's cool. Anyway, so that is my Toyota Crown brochure. G'day guys, so we're back in the Crown, and this week I'm getting rid of some stuff that I don't like. Which is this. Look, it's cool because of how nicely it's done, and it's hidden behind here. We got boost, I think it's oil temp and oil pressure, but only one of them work, which is the boost gauge. So if you remember early on in the Crown videos, I showed the sandwich plate that used to be on this car that had the oil pressure and an oil temp sensor in it for the Haltech, and obviously to run these gauges, and that was leaking, so the old owner removed all that, so that's why those gauges don't work, because the sensors obviously aren't in there. But I wanted to get these back and working, but I also don't like this whole gauge thing. I sort of want to update it a bit, so this will be going. And this is all the Haltech stuff we are moving to. So first off, I'm going to ditch the separate oil temp and oil pressure gauge with one of these, which is one sensor that does both. Makes it a hell of a lot easier. I have got a 4-port CAN hub adapter, which is for this stuff here. So I'm gonna get rid of the 3 gauges and replace it with this 2-inch CAN gauge from Haltech, which is one of these babies. So what this does is pretty much everything. I think you can have up to 10 pages of info on this. So oil temp, oil pressure, boost, air temp, water temp, like everything you can think of can come up on this screen. So everything out of one gauge is good. And also in that spot, I'm gonna add a Haltech Keypad, which is a 2x4. What I'm gonna run on this, I don't know yet. I'd like to do cruise control, probably rolling anti-lag, you know, all the wanky stuff like that. But it's got a Haltech, so I may as well make use of it. maybe like a rotational idle, 2-step, stuff like that. I don't know, we'll figure out what we can add. High and low boost, actually I got the dial for that. So I don't know, we'll see what we can come up with. So that's everything that will be going into the crown. And there's going to be two big issues with the fitment of all this stuff. One is I know absolutely zero about anything electrical. I hate doing anything electrical. I wouldn't even fit a head unit. I hate messing with wires because I know nothing about it and something's always going to go wrong. But apparently this is very easy, so we'll see how we go. The second one is I don't even know where the ECU is in this car, because the factory ECU is in this box here, which is actually still in there because the factory ECU still controls the body of the car, and the Haltech is a standalone that controls the trans and the engine. From what I can see, the aftermarket loom for the Haltech goes down through in there, and from what I can see in here, with the Haltech cable, it goes up here, and I can see it goes back down there. So I'm assuming it's either in this kick panel or it's under this big black panel that's here. But your guess is as good as mine. So after a little bit of disassembly here, I have managed to find the ECU hidden deep down in here next to the blower motor. So there we have our Haltech Elite 2500, and on the back of it our Haltech wideband. So I can either plug the CAN hub into here if the plug permits, or I can run it off the wideband, and you run everything off the CAN hub. And what I'm going to do while I'm under here is remove all this gauge wiring, which is that down there. And I also reckon I know why my dash cam doesn't work. That's the accessory wire to it. A lot going on down here, but we'll fix it up. And wiring frustrates me that much, so I didn't even bother filming any of this just because I was fucking over it. I just want to get this shit done. But all the old gauge wiring is out, which was super simple once I pulled all this out, because it all ran under here to all the bullshit here because the oil temp sensors were there. So all that's gone, gauges are gone, and so we have our CAN hub plugged directly into the ECU. Then we have our CAN gauge here and our Haltech keypad here. So simple, no actual wiring at all. Just plug them into the hub, run your wiring to where your items are going to go, and literally plug them in the back. The only one that needs a bit of wiring is the gauge, which is this, just for, I think it's just like headlights. So the light comes on with the headlights. But yeah, literally plug it in, and let's see if any of this works, because supposedly it is that simple. Alright, so there we go. It all lights up. So it works. Alright, straight away we got coolant temp, TPS, RPM. So that's all that's set up, 2 menus. So now you just go into the Haltech software on your laptop, plug it into the ECU, set whatever stuff you want on the gauge. Actually, I think there's even an app for this. Actually, I'm going to look at that now. And set everything you want on the keypad. Unfortunately, I can't do any of this because my laptop is that shit that I can't even download the Haltech software onto it. It won't let me. So I'm going to have to get Troy maybe, or Logan or someone to set up the keypad. But I think I can do the gauge through there's actually a gauge, Haltech gauge app. So I'm going to see if that works. The thing that shits me now, right, is remember how I did those radiator hoses to get rid of all the blue, and I put the sensor back in the top hose? That sensor was for the gauge. So now that thing is useless and I can remove it altogether. But to do that, I need to buy another top radiator hose, drop the coolant, blah, 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 blah. Because the coolant temp runs straight from the ECU. So it was for gauge only. So officially now I can get rid of this thing altogether. But as I said, it means getting a new top hose. But let's see what we can do with the app, and obviously put all this back together, and hopefully, oh yes, see, dash cam now works. So it was just that one wire that had popped out, and now dash cam works. Grouse. Now to put this absolute mess back together, because it's giving me the heebie-jeebies. And this is the end product of what you're going to see in the car. Now, unfortunately, I was hoping the keypad would cover the old holes, but they don't. It should be, look, this might be a temporary thing, because this has been 3D printed to clip exactly into that center spot over there, and it actually fits super nice, so it's a shame. Look, can I live with those little gaps? I don't know, we'll soon find out. Now, unfortunately, this is the only way I could mount it. So I had to make this little bracket that sits behind, painted one side black, obviously to make it less obvious between there, but that's the only way I could figure how to mount it, because I had to chop the center out for the plug, and it doesn't hold with just the two studs because the holes for the old gauges are there. So hopefully you understand what I mean. It's the best I could come up with, and I had everything here for it to do that. So that's our finished product. That's all plugged in. Look at that. That is bloody good. I don't know, guys, could you live with those little side sections? I could even try fill them in. I don't know. We'll see how we go. But God, I'm happy with that. Oh, no. Oh my God, who the hell's calling me? There's no way. It doesn't close. Like just. Oh God, it hits on this bottom bit here. Well, it looks like it's staying open. Or if I do get another one of these remade, I'm gonna have to recess the pad in just a little bit. But damn, guys, I'm happy with that. Now onto the app. I'm gonna do this app. So just search Heltec, and it's the first one that comes up. So this is actually the second time filming this setting up of the can gauge, because the first time I started filming doing the app, and I cracked the shits and stopped filming because it wouldn't connect, it wouldn't do anything, and it didn't even look like the stuff that's in the instruction manual, which is here. Like, looked nothing like this. Anyway, I had the wrong app. I downloaded the wrong app. So there's two Heltec apps. There's one just for the gauge. So now we'll do it properly. So with ignition on, and we connect Wi-Fi to the gauge, and then we go into the app, start configuration. There we go, to come up programming mode. Alright, create configuration. Yes, Heltec. Here we go. So this is how we set up our gauge. So I'm going to do this and show you the end result. So it is now programming what I set, and we'll see if it all worked. I've had to do this a few times. I accidentally didn't save it the first time, so let's see. It actually is pretty bloody simple. Alright, it's all done and configured. It sends the file over, restarts, and that's it. Oil pressure, oil temp, air temp, coolant temp, RPM and boost, TPS. That's it. You can set a lot more, actually. I think it's up to 10 pages with up to 4 gauges per page, so you can really cram this thing full of info. But you know, once you actually read this properly and pay attention, that is super simple to set up. Even a spastic like me can do it. So now I just got to figure out how I'm supposed to program this keypad. Now the part of this that I've been dreading is fitting the dual Heltec pressure and temp sensor for oil to get that gauge working, and just to have it on the ECU with warnings and stuff as well, with cutoffs. Because from what I have seen on Google, you can't fit a pressure or temp sensor straight to the block on these because there's something in the way. I can't remember if it was like alternator or something to do with power steering. And you need an adapter, which I'm hoping is the right one that's in here. It's got a 1/8 MPT adapter. I'm hoping it screws in. I gotta do a quick Google, but I just want to get it up, see it for myself. And while it's up, I'm gonna pop all the wheels off, possibly lower it a bit, and hit everything with the steam cleaner while I have it, as long as it actually makes a difference. Alright, so now with the car up as a hovercraft, you can get under here and there is our factory sensor right there, which looks not bad to get out. Bit fiddly, but I can get that out, and I don't understand why people say on forums and stuff that you can't fit an aftermarket sensor there. It looks like it'll fit just fine, hopefully. And before you tell me you should never mount a sensor straight to the block because it'll rattle to shit and eventually not work anymore, I So I'll message Logan, who fits and deals with these sensors every single day, asking him if it's a bad idea, should I remote mount it, or can I just fit it straight to the block? Have you ever had in your lifetime any issues with these Haltech sensors due to vibrations? And this was his reply. So I'm fitting it straight to the block. So it was actually not too bad with a ring spanner. It's all loose now. So I'm just hoping this doesn't drip oil. Oh, and there is our sensor. And Haltech with the bloody goods. Their adapter is to the factory size. So that, and there we have our dual Haltech temp and pressure sensor for the gauge and the Haltech. Alright, so we had a slight issue. So this is what the oil pressure sensor goes into in the side of the engine. So we're pulling this one out and putting the Haltech one in, which comes with a 1/8 MPT adapter, which when you hold up to this is the right thread, but I didn't realize this is MPT and this is BSP, so they're the slightest of slightest difference. Thank God Race Parts Melbourne had in stock, and just around the corner from me, an M10 adapter to 1/8 BSP. So now I can fit the damn sensor. And there we have our Haltech combo temp and pressure sensor installed. Alright. Test. First test. So, well, no brake, no nothing, no...
No, just you hold on the brake.
How do we know if it's on or off?
Hold it. Hold the button in. Now go. Hold on. Let's try again. How did we
Fail.
fail?
Alright, so unfortunately we really ran out of time today. Daniel was doing Ronaldo's head on his S13 because I got a tune tomorrow, and me and Gerald together pretty much had no idea what we were doing with the Haltech software, but we did manage to get launch control and anti-lag working, and it took us probably about an hour to get that stuff working. So only 2 things done on the keypad, but that were like the 2 main wank things that I wanted on this keypad. Down the track I want to do like traction control and cruise control, and then I got 4 other spots, so figure something out. I got to look up exactly the whole list of things that I can put on this keypad and sort of just go through and decide, but the anti-lag's pretty cool. Well, I haven't done it rolling yet. I'll be honest, I'm a bit of a pussy. I'm going to end up in like a fucking gutter or something, but it sounds sick. So yeah, they're the only 2 things we got set up. We got launch control and rolling anti-lag. So both are set up around the 4 grand mark. The rolling anti-lag, it creates like 6 or 7 pounds of boost, probably more if you hold it longer, but you know, I'll be honest, I haven't even tried it out yet, because as I said, I don't want to stuff this car. I'm not even used to this car yet. I've honestly driven this thing like 4 or 5 times, so no, very cool. And I'm spewing, we actually ran out of time to do the oil pressure and temp sensor also, so that isn't done either, but we will get there in the end. I really want that working, probably more than the keypad, so I want to get onto that ASAP. Daniel's going to do the plug for me, and then just got to run the wiring and wire it into the Haltech, and then I can activate it on the Haltech software, and it'll be on the gauge here, and then we can set all the safeties and stuff like that. That's what's really putting me off, like thrashing this car. I'll give it a little bit here and there, but a lot of the safeties aren't set up, so I need like a day to sit and like set up all that stuff, and a laptop that actually runs the damn software. But anyway, I don't know, that could be the end of this video. I got no idea. I also drove around all day with this off so I could keep an eye on this fuel leak, and it's probably the most driving I've done in a while. Like, I don't know, maybe did 50, 60 Ks and not a single drop. So I don't know what the hell is going on here. I guess I just got to keep an eye on it.